Thank you so much for choosing The Wonderling as a Judy Lopez Memorial Honor Book. I am so grateful and I am honored. And I also wanted to say congratulations to the other winners today. I hope you have a great time at the event. I wish I could be there with you. And I hope you all enjoyed the little video I made. Thanks. Come on, let me show you around a little bit. This is my art area where I put pictures up on the wall. These are some of the illustrations from The Wonderling. We got a crow that was inspiration for Belisha. Little mouse, inspiration for Peevel. This is amazing. This is Arthur and Trinket. This was made by a friend of mine, Tracy Kohansky, who makes bizarre creatures. Isn't this incredible? It's Arthur with his little ear. Trinket and her flying suit. Her studio is called Dreamlet Studio, and she also makes carousel horses. So, harp, I play harp. Quintus's hat. This is my drawing area, drawing table. Lots of books, important to have lots of books for inspiration. Some of my favorite children's books, art books, and more art on the wall. And let's look around a little. Follow me. Oh look, there's another crow. Okay, now this is where the writing happens, okay? I spend a lot of time on this couch, sometimes napping, sometimes writing. Hopefully more writing than napping. Then when I write by hand, afterwards I write in my computer, either on my laptop or on that big monster over there. So this is kind of where the finishing touches happen, the editing, organization, if there is any organization. I try to be organized, but it doesn't always work. So some little things that inspire me, come on. Just little secret things that I collect. There's little magical specimens and, you know, lots of books. The question most people ask me about The Wonderling is, where did I get the idea? I think that's the question most audience members, most readers ask author illustrators. Where do they get their ideas? It's crazy ideas. So it's from a combination of things. The first idea I had for this book really came from a drawing, and it was in this big sketchbook, and it was this weird little drawing of a rabbit with one ear. And I wrote this in my sketchbook. The Wonderling, a Dickensian tale of a one-eared creature who, after being abandoned by his family, which didn't happen in the book, sets off into the world to find his destiny. But then I wrote underneath, sigh, guess I don't have any time to write it though. So Arthur started as a rabbit with a weird ear, continued to be a rabbit, and then I just thought there are so many rabbits, and then started to look a little more dog-like. And I wrote too mouse-like, as in the book, graphic novel Mouse. Still a little too mouse-like. I toyed with a cat. And then, you know, through a lot of sketches, this is a pile of some of my sketches, I came up with this drawing, which ended up in the book. But to get to this point and to get to these sketches that I did, really there were other things at play. There were dreams I had. I had these dreams of a glowing city that was both beautiful and amazing and also very corrupt, which became Lumentown. I was reading a lot of books by Charles Dickens, rereading them, books I had read years ago, and I wanted to love that kind of world that he created. sort of set in Victorian, sort of Victorian England. And, you know, also the refugee crisis, which is still going on, that had a huge impact on my book, because I was thinking about what it would be like to sort of be lost and not have any home, and be one of many, just sort of trapped somewhere and not have any place to go. So a lot of ideas, even more than that, and also a lot of books that I was reading. I also read T.H. White's The Once and Future King, which I loved, about King Arthur, and I was reading other versions of King Arthur. So ideas come from everywhere. So I knew right from the start that I wanted The Wonderling to have the feel of a kind of classic Victorian children's book, but with a bit of edginess to it. I wanted, you know, every part of the book to have some kind of decorative element and lots of spot illustrations, like this page here that is the decorative page from the part 2. You see a picture of the songcatcher that captures Arthur's attention and one sense of wonder. So back to the question of where ideas come from. Some of the images from some illustrations are based on memories, such as this illustration of my two main characters sitting under a tree from a little chapter. I think it's called "Wish Upon a Star" in part 2. One of the things that I was thinking about at that time was how, when I lived on a farm in Italy back in the early 90s, I used to return every time around the same part of the year, mid-August, which is during the time of the shooting stars. I used to sit with a friend or a couple of friends, and we'd make wishes for each other. Obviously, that's a universal experience to wish upon a star, but for me, it was so embedded in that memory of Italy, and that kind of filtered into this picture with Arthur sitting with Trinket by this tree under the stars. So the last illustration of the book is a similar kind of thing. It's a picture of Arthur looking out the window, staring up at the stars, a universal kind of image like the one with Trinket under the tree. But it's from such a deep memory from my own childhood. I used to spend many days and nights, staring out of the window of my grandparents' house where I lived for several years, my heart full of longing, wondering even, at an early age, what my future held. And placing this at the end of the book felt like a good way to end the Wonderling and offer the possibility that Arthur's story is still unfolding. Here's one of the illustrations that didn't get into the book. It's the image of the Norak, which is from part 3, where Arthur is ferried across Stink Bottom River by a three-headed froggy sort of character named the Norak, which if you are a mythology geek like me, you might have noticed that the Norak is Charon spelled backwards, the character who ferries people across the river Styx. And another one that didn't get into the book is this one of Arthur and his friends from Wildred Manor from part 2, in case you've read the book. Here's Peevil and Arthur from part 3. Peevil is a little mouse, if you haven't read the book. And when Arthur is living in exile in a terrible place called Gloomintown, this little creature called Peevil becomes his friend. And Peevil, the idea of Peevil came from a combination of wanting to create a kind of gallant, chivalrous, Reepicheep character, inspired by the Narnia books, obviously, and also an incident that I had that occurred involving a small half-dead juvenile mouseling. I found this little guy. He was barely breathing. He was really cold. And I warmed him up for a while and gave him a little water and for about an hour. And then he suddenly perked up and dashed away. And I exclaimed, "Peevil! Peevil the Bold!" And thus Peevil was born from this little guy. Here's an image of Quintus, who's one of my main characters, walking along Stink Bottom Bridge with Arthur in the great white city of Gloomintown, a place inspired by kind of combination of things, of dreams, 19th century photographs and engravings of London, steampunk art, and so on. And here's actually Gloomintown itself, which hot air balloons, flying bicycles, that's definitely, steampunk influence. These sketches and printouts of drawings, they're all part of the collaborative process that is involved when you make a book like The Wonderling. Each sketch goes through a vetting process with the art director and interior designer, who happen to be the same person, named Chris Paul from Candlewick Press, as well as the editor. And the editor for me was Karen Lotz, who's also the publisher of Candlewick Press. And we decided together which ones would work and which ones should be cut. Sometimes we didn't agree, and there was spirited discussion, but we all felt good about the decisions in the end. And there's a whole team, really. There's copy editors, there are proofreaders, cover designers, as well as all the readers who read my book. Some of them were my friends and my fellow writers, but probably the best ones were my young readers who were ages 7 to 14. And they're the ones who really kind of made the biggest difference in how The Wonderling turned out. So I'm so grateful for that whole team. And on to book 2. So a lot of people have been asking me, what's going on with the movie? And, a movie is a long process. Someone once described it as building a city on sand, because things are always moving and shifting. It takes a long time. But the news is we have something happening right now, which is fantastic. And that is, we have a script, a real script. It says confidential, so I can't tell you about it. But the screenwriter is not me. It's a man named Mike Vukadinovich, who is amazing, and we're really happy with the script, and everyone involved in the movie is happy with the script. And so it's taken a few drafts, but we have a script that we can work with. And so right now, Stephen Daldry, the director, is pretty busy. When Stephen Daldry's schedule is available, we're going to start shooting. I'm not sure when that is, but for now, the most important thing is, now that we have a script, we're going to look for the right composer, because music is very, very important in the book as well as the script. And that's what we're working on, is finding the right composer. And stay tuned for more information. When there's something new, I'll post it on my website, mirabartok.com. And yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait to get into production and see who's in it. I don't know who's going to be in it yet, but you'll be the first to know. Go. I can't believe I forgot to tell you something. So when people ask what the inspiration for the book is, the biggest inspiration is actually right down here. Hold on a second. Meet Sadie, my little Wonderling. Thanks for watching. See you later. Have a great day. Bye. Come on, Sadie. Let's go.